You see the kind of light that brings out the detail of the model. One, it brings out the form of the model. These hot backlights put that highlight on the top to separate it from the background. Separates it from a white background, a black background, a gray background. It still does the same job. Just because you have a white background does not mean that you really don't need that backlight to bring it out. This light, again, raking across the front here, brings out the texture of the brick, and this light is just filling in that shadow. And you can play with these. What you don't want to do is that. You don't want it flat. You want to create a contrast, and it's hard, you know, no book can tell you what is just right. Every model is going to look a little different. If I take that light and turn it off, this is just that little 15-watt bulb, but look at the difference. And that might be, if you're trying to replicate sunlight, that might be exactly what you want, but probably not.
Do you ever color your lights?
Sometimes I do. Yeah, sometimes I use a colored gel, a warming gel, particularly on a backlight, just to add a little kick. I don't color too much, though. What we're speaking of is photographer's gels, which are colored sheets that you can get in a good photo supply. They don't melt in front of even, you know, really, really hot Hollywood lights. There's nothing in between. You either get the kind that don't melt in front of Hollywood lights, you know, 1,000-watt things, or you don't do it at all, because anything else will melt in front of even a 60-watt bulb if you drape it across the front. What I'm going to do is, when you're doing locomotives or anything black, one of the things to keep in mind is that you want to, you don't want to, I mean, you can do it, I mean, Kinsley shot everything on cloudy skies, and his stuff was absolutely fantastic. So you can do it that way. But another way to do this is to put a highlight along the black side, like that. So I'm putting what I would call my main light, and I am adjusting it first. And again, you play with it, you look at it. You can do this, you can do a lot of this looking, rather than using, say, 4 electronic flashes, which some professionals would use. And I prefer to work with hot lights so that I can actually see things as I go.
And that's your second highest wattage bulb?
This is the second highest wattage, yeah. Highest wattage is the backlight. Middle wattage is the main light. In this case, it's actually kind of a kicker more than a main light, a raking side light. And then the third is the fill light. So here, the most important lights are going to be the this raking side light and the backlight. Backlight's going to become kind of a top light. Now watch what happens. See how it's drawn? Just like a little white outline. And again, that's useful whether you're shooting against black or white or gray. And then, what's missing?
Fill.
The fill light. And there's the fill light. See? And you can play with that. Let's say you wanted something a little different. You could use the fill as a raking fill across the front. See, like that. Or you could bring it way back and, well, actually it's just pretty good where it was. But I mean, the whole purpose of this clinic tonight is light. Playing with light, looking at it, deciding what the other thing, I mean, there's just no right and wrong way to do it. As long as you have the tools, the bag of tricks, you don't, obviously doesn't take fancy equipment. I mean, there's $25 worth of lights here if you don't count the mechanics light. And for my kind of photography, and I do a certain style of photography. It's, I mean, I could do this 1,000 different ways. I could make this look like a Kinsley overcast day. I mean, actually, if somebody really wanted me to, I don't like to do it, but I could, you know, I could put the smoke, and I could do it with lights, and I could do the background, and I could do maximum depth of field. I could do that kind of photography. I just don't choose to do that. I like my model photography, I like my how-to photography to be pure, and to some extent, even all of my professional photography, I like it to be pure and somewhat simple. I like to communicate decisively with a little snap, with no ambiguity at all. Whether I'm photographing it, whether it's a portrait of somebody, whatever I do, well, like that landscape that you saw of the elkhorns and the gate. I mean, again, there's not much mystery there. There's a mystery in the light. There's a certain mystique in the picture, but there was really no mystery of what I was photographing. And all of my photography is that way. So I approach model photography the same way. My idea is always to get to show the model in its best light. I to photograph it as close as the model maker has allowed me in the quality of his work. I like to get right down to where the painting technique starts to break apart so that the viewer can profit from it and see not just a blurry, far away, not a blurry picture, but a picture far away so that it's absolutely perfect. I like to get just close enough that a hobbyist looking at the magazine can actually see where my glue joints are, or where, if I'm doing, say, military figures, where they can see the painting technique. Some people don't like that. They think, well, it doesn't look like real life. Well, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to show, in my photography, I'm trying to show someone a little bit how a master painter has done it. So you have to get just close enough that the technique starts to show, which means, to some people, a little too close and a little too sharp. But my photography is close and sharp and crisp. And I've done this one, you know, already had the lights set up, but say it took 15 minutes to set up the lights, and that's unpacking. I mean, if I were at home, I could have set them up in 5 minutes.
Is there any advantage to using, say, like a rheostat on each one of those lights? Something to control the intensity?
Yeah, if you, yeah, the rheostats change the color of the light. So this really comes from my older days of shooting on transparency before digital. Even now, digital is very forgiving. It's something that I don't understand. Again, there are probably people out there that understand. This is not the time to explain it. But digital seems to be very forgiving as far as mixed colors. We used to have fits with fluorescence, with the wrong kind of fluorescence, with a mix of fluorescence, window light, tungsten light. Photographers have just had fits over this forever. Somehow with digital photography, it is a little more forgiving of a mix of lights, and I don't quite understand why. So a rheostat, by bringing all of these bulbs, if all of these bulbs were the same maker, but different wattage, the color temperature, in other words, how red or yellow they were, how far off of daylight they are, they would be about equal when they are simply plugged into a wall. You rheostat them down, they will warm up. So that's why I hadn't actually thought of that. That's an interesting question.